A rhinoceros can charge through brush, push past thorns, and carry a body built like living armor, but it still cannot clean its own back. That is where the oxpecker comes in. This small bird lands on the rhino like it owns the place. It walks across the skin of a giant, searching for ticks, insects, and anything small enough to become breakfast. At first, it looks like a perfect deal. The rhino gets cleaned. The bird gets fed. But nature rarely makes anything that simple. Because the oxpecker is not just a polite little helper. It is a survivor too. Across the grasslands and open woodlands of Africa, large mammals carry more than their own weight. They carry dust. They carry scars. They carry the marks of old fights, dry mud, insects, and tiny parasites, hidden in places their own bodies cannot reach. A rhino may look almost untouchable. Its skin is thick, its head is heavy. Its horn can change the decision of almost any animal standing in its path. But strength does not solve every problem. There are folds behind the ears, creases along the neck, places along the back where the skin moves, warms, sweats, and collects life. For ticks and other small parasites, these places can be perfect hiding spots. And for an oxpecker, they are a meal. The oxpecker is small enough to move where the rhino cannot. It grips the hide with sharp little claws, balances on a living mountain, and begins to search. A tick here, a small insect there, a tiny movement in the dust. To the bird, the rhino is not only a perch, it is a feeding ground with legs. And that is the first funny truth of this relationship. One of the most powerful animals on land is also, from the oxpecker's point of view, a walking buffet. The rhino may tolerate this, because the bird can remove some of the small creatures feeding on its skin. A tick may seem tiny compared with a rhino, but parasites can drain blood, irritate skin, and create constant discomfort. Enough of them can become a serious burden. The oxpecker has the tools for the job: a narrow beak, a light body, quick movements, a habit of searching the surface of large mammals for food. It moves over the rhino's back like a tiny inspector. Sometimes it leans into the folds of skin. Sometimes it picks near the ears. Sometimes it rides calmly as the rhino walks, as if this enormous animal is simply the slowest restaurant in Africa. But the arrangement is not only about cleaning. Oxpeckers are birds, not nurses. They do not land on a rhino because they feel generous. They land because they need to eat. Their survival depends on finding food, and large mammals offer something few trees or rocks can provide: a living surface full of tiny opportunities. This is why the same bird may appear on buffalo, giraffes, antelope, and rhinos. Different animals, different shapes, different levels of patience. But the same basic idea. A large body attracts small life. A small bird learns where to look. For the rhino, the bird may bring relief. For the bird, the rhino brings food. That sounds almost too perfect. And it is. Because the oxpecker's beak does not always stop at ticks. Researchers have observed that oxpeckers can also feed around wounds, mucus, saliva, and blood. In some situations, they may peck at irritated skin or keep returning to places that are already sensitive. For the host animal, this changes the mood of the partnership. The helpful cleaner can become the annoying guest. Imagine allowing someone to scratch the one place on your back you cannot reach, and then realizing they are enjoying the job a little too much. That is the strange balance of the oxpecker. The bird may remove parasites, but it may also bother the animal it rides on. It may help. It may take. And sometimes, the line between those two things is very thin. This is why scientists do not always describe the oxpecker relationship as a simple, perfect friendship. In some cases, it may look mutualistic, where both animals gain something. In other cases, it may lean toward parasitic behavior, where the bird benefits more than the host. The truth can depend on the host, the number of parasites, the condition of the skin, the hunger of the bird, and the tolerance of the animal carrying it. Nature does not make clean deals. It makes trade-offs. A rhino does not need to understand the full arrangement. It only needs to respond to what is happening on its body. If the bird is removing irritation, the rhino may allow it. If the bird pokes too hard or returns to a sore place, the rhino may shake, twitch, or try to move it away. The bird, meanwhile, is reading the rhino constantly. A shift of the skin, a flick of the ear, a step forward, a warning movement. Life on a rhino is not stable ground. It is warm, moving, and dangerous if the giant suddenly decides it has had enough. Yet oxpeckers keep coming back, because for a small bird, this risky job can be worth it. There is another layer to the story. Oxpeckers may also act as sentinels. With sharper vision than rhinos, they can react when danger approaches. Their alarm calls may alert the animal beneath them, especially because rhinos are known for poor eyesight compared with their hearing and smell. So the bird is not only searching the skin, it is also watching the world. Whether the oxpecker means to protect the rhino is not the point. The effect can still matter. A sudden call, a restless movement, a quick reaction from the birds on its back. These signals may tell the rhino that something nearby has changed. Once again, the relationship becomes difficult to label. Cleaner, passenger, alarm system, irritating guest, tiny survivor. The oxpecker can be all of these things, depending on the moment. And that is what makes this partnership so fascinating. Human eyes often look for simple stories in nature. We want to know who is helping who is the good one, who is taking advantage, who is the friend, who is the thief. But the wild does not always fit those categories. A rhino is not a gentle giant hiring a cleaner. An oxpecker is not a tiny doctor in feathers. They are two animals meeting at the surface of survival. One has size, strength, and armor. The other has access, balance, and a beak built for small hidden things. The rhino carries a world on its skin. The oxpecker knows how to search that world. And somewhere between cleaning and feeding, between relief and irritation, their lives overlap. The funniest part is also the most revealing. The rhino may be huge, but it cannot reach everywhere. The oxpecker may be tiny, but it can survive by finding the places a giant cannot manage alone. In nature, power is not always about being the largest animal in the grass. Sometimes power is being small enough to stand on that animal's back, and bold enough to start breakfast there. As the rhino moves through the grass, the bird keeps its balance. It steps, picks, watches, and feeds. The giant continues forward. The tiny passenger stays with it, not out of loyalty, but because the arrangement still works well enough to continue. Not perfectly, not peacefully, not always comfortably, but in the practical language of the wild, enough is often enough. And that is the quiet lesson of the oxpecker and the rhino. Even the strongest body has places it cannot reach, and sometimes the smallest creatures survive by finding exactly those places.